Okay, moving right along here, I think we're doing good on time now. The next presentation that we have, and Tori, you're going to read that one off, correct? Okay, and I'm going to let Tori introduce our next person we have up here.
Okay, our next presenter will be Miss Roxane. She graduated with a bachelor's in agronomy from Southeast Missouri State University in 2006, and she has a master's in entomology from the University of Arkansas in 2010. She has held positions in teaching and research and has 7 peer-reviewed publications. Roxane has been a volunteer at the Missouri Department of Conservation Nature Center for 9 years, where she enjoys doing animal care. Her passion for insects, birds, and native plants has her currently working on her 33-acre homestead to bring nature home.
This way down here because I'm short. So hopefully you can hear me. I do talk soft and I do apologize for that. So if you can't hear me, please speak up. And I do have my notes here because I have a tendency to forget what I want to say. So I'm going to be flipping through my notes. Okay, so let me play with this for a minute. I think that's the pointer. And that might be the changer. Okay. I just want to make sure. Alrighty. So, everybody knows AJ, right? And you heard that I'm a volunteer at the Nature Center. Been there for 9-10 years. Karen Pelton, please stand up. She's been running the camera. She and I volunteer together. So, I think it was April of this year, AJ came. We always have a monthly volunteer meeting, the 4th Thursday of every month. And he came and talked about Chinquapins at our volunteer meeting. He talked about the restoration of it and mentioned about the research of insects and talked about the foundation and said that there was some research going on about insects and pollination on the trees. And of course I got all excited and Karen was sitting there next to me and we're like, we can do this, we can do this, sure. You know, because Karen likes to go out and Karen likes to take pictures. She's always, you always find her on a trail somewhere. So I thought, yeah, let's go out and do this because he said the trees were right there on the property. Okay, so we can do this. Talked about how there has been some studies during the day, a little bit at night, but there really wasn't anything done at night. They wanted to know what was on these trees at night. So, you know, you can see that the objective of our study there was to observe visitation of insects on these Ozark Chinquapins there in Cape Girardeau, right on the regional office and nature center property at night and after dark. So, before we get started here, oh, did I switch it? I did. Sorry. Because of the decline of this very important tree, it's important to understand, you know, the pollination of these trees, especially insect pollination. So I'm going to kind of go over some of the studies that are already known. I found a couple as I was doing my research, but just kind of give you guys an idea of what studies are out there already. So in 1954, Clapper, basically, he just focused on plant characteristics. So he looked at like how bright of the color of the flowers were. He looked at how odorous they are or how much nectar there were on them. You know, how sticky was the pollen, that kind of stuff. In Europe, De Oliveira and others in 2000 looked at chestnut, and they did show that insect pollination was very important. Giovannetti and others in 2011, their study was basically focused on honeybee interest in general, is what they had looked at. I did find a gentleman named Paul Oppler in 1977. He's with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. He looked through literature and did some surveys, and he showed that there were at least, is what he put in his paper, 60 species of moths that fed on the tree. And then this last one is Colton Zirkle in 2017. He was a graduate student at University of Arkansas at Fayetteville. For his dissertation, he did some exclusion studies, and he showed that wind and insect pollination did increase seed production. So let's kind of look at some of this research in detail as far as what they actually noted in their research. So Colton, he noted that pollination occurred in the absence of insects, demonstrating wind alone could pollinate flowers, but at levels far less than when flowers were exposed to both wind and insects. And Giovannetti in 2011 and others, remember she was, or I don't remember if it's she or he, but they basically focused on honeybee interest in general, and basically came to the conclusion that the plants may increase their reproductive success when climatic conditions are unfavorable to wind pollen dispersal. So the flowers are basically wind pollinated. There's a fancy word for it that I can't pronounce, but insect pollination helps them produce seed better is what they're finding. It's kind of like soybeans, they more or less self-pollinate, but a little bit of insect help helps the seed production a little bit better. Does that make sense? Okay. De Oliveira and others in 2000 found, and they did this study, both of these studies like that other one, these two studies were done in Europe as well. The first one was done in Portugal, and found that some impacts on the bird set are related to the insect pollinators. And then LaRue, others in 2021, found that the flowering trees attracted large numbers of beetles, bees, and flies, and that pollinator exclusion experiments demonstrated a predominant role of insects. Now, Colton Zirkle in 2017, who was the graduate student at University of Arkansas, found, I think, around 122 species of insects, and he did a little bit at night as well, and a lot during the day, and I think he found 6 orders of insects. So let's kind of go into the what and where, kind of show you, where we're doing this study at, and if you've never been to Cape Girardeau, Missouri, there it is, right on the map, right there. It's right on the Mississippi River, kind of toward the bottom of southern Illinois, just cross the Mississippi River. We're right over there, about 6.5 hours from here. And if anybody knows, I'm not going to get political, but if anybody knows Rush Limbaugh, that's the hometown of Rush Limbaugh. So this kind of gives an aerial view of what we're looking at here. And if you've ever driven up between, say, Memphis and St. Louis and you go through Cape Girardeau, this is exit 99. So over here, this is Kings Highway, and Interstate 55 is over here, and this is the Kings Highway. So Jackson is up here, and Cape Girardeau is down here. This is kind of Center Junction is what we call it. North Cape County Park is separated by Kings Highway by South Cape County Park. So there's like the memorial cemeteries over here, and there's another lake and trails and stuff. So the regional office is here. The Nature Center, trying to see over here. I'm gonna walk over here a minute. Sorry, it's hard for me to see at this angle. I guess I can look at the screen too. Nature Center's down here and the regional office is here. The park does have, well, of course there's lights up along and down this highway. The park does have lights in it. There's lights along the regional office and the Nature Center. And of course there's, you know, 2 ponds. We call this the kids pond. And then this is the lake over here in